Right now I have a little bit of a sticky situation because I have these panels that are laser cut and all accurate to this panel right here because I traced it, and it looks like a good simulator panel. But I more or less stretched it out an inch. So basically all of these dimensions are off by a little bit, so I'm gonna make another panel. The reference I was going off of for this entire Cessna 172 project, this DXF in its native form, is off by a little bit to make the analog version the same height as the G1000 version. The G1000 version is about an inch higher than the analog version because the G1000 version has a big screen and it needs to fit. I'm going to drill a bunch of pilot holes and we'll basically drill the holes and screw it in. Man, now that I have Clecos, I really like using them. Now I can uncleco these. And see our result. It looks pretty good. You don't actually have to sand this down because it's a support panel. You won't touch it, but you can if you want to. I'm using some sheet metal screws because I've used these in the past and they seem to work pretty well. So these are all screwed in now. I think it looks pretty good. These screws kind of look a little big and almost comical compared to the ones I've seen in 172s. So I should make sure they look better in real life and get dimensions for them. Now onto this panel. Okay, so this is what our panel looks like. I think using the laser cut panel as a guide, very carefully to not drill into the laser cut panel, worked pretty well. I'm impressed with its results, and I'm excited to see it where it goes next. I did miss 2 holes though. There we go. Actually 4. This is all great. We can basically use this and screw these screws in. Why I'm using 3 Clecos spread out? Because last time I used 2 close together and the panel kind of wiggled away and kind of got unaligned. So I'm using 3 with this one, and that'll hopefully make it a lot better. I think I did this pretty well, except I forgot to remove the paper under it. So whenever I have a chance next, whenever I remove the panel, I'll take the paper under it. Oops. For these more simple shapes, I use drawings like this. The advantage is that it's all on one piece of paper and you don't have to do any of the gluing nonsense. The disadvantages are that it's more up to you to get the angles right and the distances right, and since it's only one piece of paper, I've had to search for this like 10 times. Sheesh. to do math. So, oh, this is actually super easy. I thought that was going to be easy. Might be hard. My sister has my phone, so this is where the big brains come in. 41.2 minus 38.11. 09 is 3.9 by 1.545. Okay, so 1.5 inches. It's so hard for me to do math in my head. Right here, if we carried this line down here, we'd basically make our cut 1.5 inches away. So there'd be a distance right here that's 1.5 inches, if that makes sense. Yeah. So we'll measure out 1.5. And then on the other side. And now all we have to do is connect the dots. So from here to here we can just trace, and it'll give us this little cutoff. And also the same on this one. You know, a clean shop really is a happy shop. Unfortunately, my shop actually started a labor union and is now going on strike. Here you'll see me measuring a 2x4 and marking it in half. This center point is where you align all of the pieces of wood so that they all look nice together and line up. I'm clamping the pieces of wood together so they don't shift while I screw them together. Here's me saying something stupid. I don't actually know what I'm saying. I forgot to record the audio, but it's something about safety. Yeah. I have a jig right here to measure the screwing distance from point to point on center, and it's basically, I think, 3 inches apart so that we get a nice even pressure applied with the screws so they don't basically fall off. My friend helped me with this part, and he's like a machine. It's so efficient. Look at this. Eventually, we got a piece looking like this floorboard with all of the 2x4 screwed on. What I need to do now is cut these 2.5 inch screws down to about 2.25 inches. I was gonna get super freaked out about that because it sounds pretty hard, but then I realized that you can actually just buy 2.25 inch screws, so I think that's probably the smartest thing to do. Yeah. So right here we have our holes, and the 2.5-inch screws were too long, so we'd have to angle grind them down. But the 2-inch screws were the step down, and they were too short. They didn't actually work. So it looks like we're gonna have to go cut some 2.5-inch screws. But that's stupid. So we're gonna get some 2-inch screws and do some counter boring. And don't worry, it isn't boring per se. So I have a drill bit right here and a screw over somewhere there. So if I have this drill bit and I line it up, you can see that this drill bit, the 9/16 or whatever, is a little bit bigger than this screw right here. Why is it a little bit bigger? Well, because we want this head to be a little bit down. When you put in a screw like this, the head of the screw tilts up just a little bit above the surface of the wood. It's not flush. So what we gotta do, basically drill out of the wood until it makes it flush. It's easier if you do it with like an actual drill though. Okay, that's about flush. It's a little more than flush, but if we need to raise it up a little, we can put a few little washers in there. We can see how deep it needs to go through here, and then we can tape it off right there just as a depth stop on our drill. I'm using duct tape because, again, my siblings stole all the blue tape, and it's nowhere to be found. Okay, sweet, there we go. Those are counterboard. Counterboard? Counter excited. Let's do this. So we have our 2-inch screw, counter bore hole. It's nice and flush on this side, but now is the moment of truth. Will it hold this correctly? With a wheel, and will the wheel turn? That's also important. Okay, it looks good for now. Then once we put a washer on, yes, that looks awesome. Let's see, does the wheel turn? The wheel turns marvelously. Great, let's tighten it up and get rolling. Oh. Really? It rolls quite nicely, actually. So I made a mistake right here. One, the height is a little bit off, so I might have to shim it up or play a little bit there. But two, this doesn't really look like a good shape. That was definitely the most embarrassing scene I've ever filmed. I was filming those scenes and they would drive by watching me skateboard on a piece of wood with casters. So yeah, I'll keep you posted. Thank you for making it this far in the video. Thus far. And I'd like to say a huge thank you to the Patreon supporters for making this video possible and for making the channel run smoothly. You can find all of the free plans to everything I'm talking about in the description below. Go ahead, print them off, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one. Oh man, I hate wasps. Just wanna, get away from me.